people with expired non-disclosure agreements. What's the juicy info you can now tell us?
Had to sign an NDA in order to reforest an artillery range that was last active in the 1920s. Just in case we found some high-tech military secrets from 90 years ago. That the charter school I taught for was in reality a Scientologist school. We had to do training in Scientology after school for 2 hours a day. We had to sign a NDA to get our $1,000 bonus for doing the non-elective training. Those parents had no idea the school was Scientology. We did not teach them how to be Scientologists, but we certainly used the terminology and all Ron's ideas. This was about 25 years ago, before we knew much about Scientology. I didn't buy in and I wasn't invited back the following year. The school dissolved about 4 years later.
My old landlord building company paid all expenses for me to break my lease, move out and get all my possessions heat treated after I came back from study abroad to bedbug infestation. They didn't want other residents to know if they threatened to sue they could get their stuff treated.
If you have a Comcast voice remote and you say, "Make Robert happy," quote, it will turn the TV to Doctor Who. There used to be a lot of hidden voice commands in the system, monsieur. We had to take a lot of them out over time, but that one is still in there. Edit. A couple people have asked me who Robert is. He is one of the software engineers working on the voice remote system, monsieur. As a proof of concept early on he put that in, and just never removed it. Edit 2. Some people are asking for another one. If you say, "Big Boss," it'll make your TV go to an empty page left over for the Minions movie, and make your TV play a Minion noise. It seems they removed a lot of them, but that one is still there too. I served on a board that had kidnap ransom insurance for all the board members. A condition of the insurance was that we could tell no one that we had kidnap ransom insurance.
Nothing Wild worked for a luxury hotel that celebrities frequented when in the area. We had Cat Williams on property when he was still touring and popular. Apparently our housekeeping manager walked in to check how the cleaning of his room was going in. To her surprise, the lady who was supposed to be cleaning was kicked back smoking a blunt with the guy. Hilarity ensued and she was canned, but got a fucking story out of it at least. Sure. I was on the team that designed SpaceX's Starlink factory in Redmond, Washington that never got built. From start of project to finish it only took 4 weeks. A record. SpaceX also wanted a 50-foot deep hole in the middle of the building, but we weren't told why. Building was around 80,000 sqft. Also, Elon likes to have a back door on all of his factories for which only he has a key so that he can secretly enter the building and watch the goings-on from a little alcove above the floor.
Tiger Direct was once a pretty successful computer hardware store in North America. There was a whole shitstorm of reasons why their brick-and-mortar stores collapsed quite quickly. Some of that information is public. However, I know they were being sued for shamelessly trying to force their clients to buy an antivirus software that was in fact just a well-dressed virus. It dramatically impacted system performance. It didn't really do anything more than Defender. It was alarmingly expensive and ultimately didn't actually work without paying a ton of additional fees. More worryingly, once your credit card information was recorded, it continued to charge you even if you cancelled the subscription, and your fees were astronomically higher after a few months. And it was notoriously a problem to remove. Calling their helpline for help only resulted in their agents refusing to help you unless you gave them your credit card info and more money. So, want to use the software? Gonna be more money. Want help using the software? More money. Want to stop using the software? More money. Already giving them money. More money it is then. Employees who questioned this software were terminated. They were forced to sell it and fired if they did not sell a substantial amount. It went so far that the stores stopped carrying any other antivirus just to prevent sales of anything but. Couple this with illegal firing practices, with the company considering reselling computers abandoned at their tech bench back to new people, some employment violations. And that's just the stuff I know about. There's more, but I wasn't privy to it all. They like to cite the decline of brick-and-mortar stores and the success of their online store. But I haven't seen any other brick-and-mortar stores for competition closing. Actually the opposite. And focusing all your eggs on the "let's compete with new egg" basket doesn't seem wise either. I am almost certain their collapse was due to overwhelming lawsuits and/or an attempt to avoid more by almost dissolving. But like I said, I know only of the lawsuits and violations that happened in my district, not necessarily the whole chain. Opiates are used for suicide all of the time in countries that do not allow it.
Mine isn't expired, but I don't care. They can come after me if they want. Honeymoon at a sandals resort and it went bad. Not like some people's where it involved rape, but personal belongings were kicked out of the room we got moved to after ours was no longer safe to stay in. That sort of stuff. The NDA says we are not allowed to acknowledge we were ever even on the island. Joke's on them. I had no interest in posting about it until they presented us with the NDA that said we couldn't. Thanks for the idea. Those things expire? My NDA says it only expire when the information becomes public.
I work on a popular show for Netflix that only finishes their episodes like 5 days before they're released. People seem to think their batch completed and they have the entire show ready to go. Unrelated, but my uncle has a non-compete that lasts 2 years past his death. It is 2 years past whenever he dies. His date of passing is not a known piece of data or plan. My friend signed one that has since expired. It had something to do with higher-ups in his company skimming off the top and making the shitton of money before they got caught. My friend got involved because he told his manager that he found a ton of money missing from one transaction, or it hadn't been released yet or something like that. He was quite shook up about it for a few weeks. I was given a near overdose of Tylenol as a toddler at a daycare called La Petite. The young worker walked away when I was on a diaper-changing table when I rolled over and fell off. I ended up breaking my femur and was understandably wailing my little cubby head off. She was afraid to get fired, so she kept feeding me painkillers until I stopped crying. Turns out that's a bad thing. Well, safe to say I spent over a week in the hospital and some time in a full-body cast. My legs got stunted just enough to make my legs just a bit shorter than my torso in portion. Medical bills were paid and I got $25,000 in an annuity. Plus the girl got fired but no prosecuted. My parents refused to press charges on her cause they believe in second chances and forgiveness.
Not an NDA, but I wasn't allowed to talk about our celebrity guests at the hotel I worked. Not working there anymore, so, J.K. Rolling smoke cigars. Michael Bay is an okay dude. George Michael was a bit of a tosser. Robert Downey Jr. is incredibly down-to-earth. I worked the bar. He was very straightforward about him not drinking. Heston Blumenthal is really nice, even if a bit demanding.
Pasato's Safe Haven oversold their Memorial Dog cottages. So when a donor They cost $10,000. Came to visit their dog's memorial cottage that they donated $10,000 for. Posados would have to swap out the memorial plaque. Super. Edited for clarification. This isn't a pet with a $10,000 donation. People got to sponsor a rescue dog by paying for a cabin for them to live in. That $10,000 donation came with this cabin was provided by a donation in the memory of dog named here. Type plaque. They sold more $10,000 donations than they had cabins.